we go. You should be able to hear me now as we're getting back into the games. ITZ versus Furia is going to be our third game of the day, and I'm joined by Rodad once again. Welcome, Rodad.
Yeah, final time I'll be on for you guys this evening. You'll have the lovely Axeman joining Dia after tonight's game here. But it's not to say that this one won't be an absolute banger. And I think, Dia, here that we've got ourselves a game that going in, we don't really know who's going to win this.
Yeah, you said it's going to be an absolute banger, and I was looking at it and I was going, you know what? Yeah, I looked at the first game of the day, Flamengo versus Pain Gaming. I think Flamengo's going to win. Red versus Redska. I think Red's going to win. ITZ versus Furia. I got no idea who's going to win. Both of these teams are solidly middle of the pack right now, and one of them's got to differentiate themselves. This is their time to do so. Pantheon has an incredible body. Oh my lord.
Dear, stay focused.
Stay
okay?
focused. Stay focused.
We all know this.
Yeah. Okay. I'm back.
ITZ, they B1 Camille. It gets answered by Skeeto's Renekton here. So we've seen Camille. I think that CBLOL Camille has just been insane so far from what I've seen. I don't think I've seen Camille lose a game, and I know that it probably has, but the power that Camille has is incredible. I want to see Bowl perform, and if INTZ are going to look to make some topside pressure happen, Camille is the best champion to do that around.
And Bull has been looking pretty good. The other people, though, that I would point you towards, if you're looking over to the INTZ side, are Revolta and Cabu. Revolta, we've sung his praises from the beginning of the season, even before he hit the rift, going, man, this guy's come back. He's ready to do disgusting things to CBLOL. Hasn't really come to fruition. He's very clearly had good fundamentals, but hasn't had the success. Cabu, on the other hand, has done disgusting things on the rift.
Now, hear me out, okay, dear. What if they put Cabu on Janna? How would you feel about that?
That would be the equivalent of us casting Zazel yesterday and him picking Yuumi. That's exactly what that would be. You decide that you're going to see one of the most mechanically intense supports. Just honestly, though, Janna, given the performance from last game, might not be a bad choice. If they lock in Rel here, you've got to give it to him.
Yeah, you do, right? Either way, though, I doubt that we see the Janna pick here. There's always a world where Galio's going support and they opt into the Janna pick to counter the Galio, but I don't think that Janna's going to become a mainstay, at least in matchups that aren't focused around the Rel bot lane. So either way, we'll keep our eyes focused. We've got double support bans coming out from Furia here in the second round, and looks like we're probably going to see double ADC bans as well from INTZ. Yep, there we go, Xayah Aphelios. I really like this Xayah ban here, actually. INTZ focusing a lot on dive. Xayah, the single best AD carry to not get dove on with that Feather Storm, making it incredibly difficult to lock her down. Taking away that AD carry definitely puts you in a good spot.
Now, my question is, what are you picking up as your AD carry? Because Furia do have pretty limited options right now. The Samira would go really well with their composition, but I'm pretty sure that INTZ would have expected that, given how they've limited the pool.
Yeah, they would have done. They're definitely trying to bank on probably Samira being picked up right here. There's a small chance they go for the MF, but it just doesn't come through. And Samira Galio as well down as a bot lane duo, definitely very potent. And once again, can opt into that double E start level 1 to go for a bit of an all-in here. But INTZ trying to add a little bit of spice to their draft here. Envy picking up the Yone right now. Going to be looking to find some nice little kills in that mid lane. Potentially a little bit of a blind pick here, expecting, at least I am, the Galio to go down to the bot side of the map. Fits well within the wheelhouse of damage and their capabilities. But here we go. This is what you wanted to see here, dear. The Alistair hover, at least for Cabu, and I expect this one to get locked in. A bit of a staple pick for him right now, to be honest. He's been playing this champion just so much, and I just want to see him play it more.
And it goes so well with the composition as well. I mean, you've got to do it. Here, you can pick your mid laner if you want. You can also rotate Galio, of course, to the mid lane if you are Furia, because into the Alistair matchup, you will have a little bit of a tough time. In general, Alistair already quite strong for Cabu. Damage not nearly showing his prowess on the Galio, but Azir prized in the mid lane makes total sense to me.
Yeah, picking that one up against the Yone, going to give a little bit more of a difficult laning phase for Envy at the very least. Now, we'll be interested to see how well Annie can do to push that lead, really, because it is going to be pretty difficult for the Yone in the early game. You can see as well the TP, not locked in yet, but at least hovered for him.
Hmm.
does suggest that he's probably not going to be going for too much in terms of kill threat. Really just wants to sustain himself through the laning phase, make sure that he can make it to that level 6 marker with a couple of items, with maybe the Berserker Greaves already in inventory, and maybe go for a little bit of sustain early on in the laning phase just to weather this storm of what should be a pretty potent early game is here.
Yeah, and my question is, in the early game, do we see that focus into the mid lane? Because Envy is also somebody that can pop off on the Yone, but I'm expecting a lot more focus towards people like Bull, who need that attention to get rolling early. And I don't know if you clocked that summoner spell, but that's an ignite
Yep.
teleport
Yeah.
Camille. I think we've actually seen this from Bull before.
Yeah, a few times, right? We saw just last game the utility that Camille has with the hook shot in terms of mobility and finding access to the back line. More importantly, here access to the bot lane very applicable as well with the teleport summoner spell. But be that as it may, having that ignite on the top side should be looking to try and punish Skeeto, who for me at least has been one of the lackluster members of Furrier. I feel like a pretty exploitable laner to try and go up against. He has got himself a nice matchup in the early game of Renekton into Camille, but we'll wait and see if Bowl can try and outmatch that.
And on the other side of this, I am looking for Beanie and I want to say damage, but more of Beanie and follow to outclass the bot lane because Beanie is such a potential carry for
Hmm.
Furia. He's a ADC that was untested coming into the season, but really strut his stuff in the first week. And I think that he can put up those performances if he wasn't continually put on Seraphine duty in the following week. Now that we're entering week 3, I think that the return to ADCs is a good one, but I do want to see the setup come in because Samira, if she does manage to get that Inferno trigger off, will melt INTZ, who just want to pile in around her anyway.
Yeah, they've just got so much damage coming out of INTZ that it makes it difficult for them to have tank stats, right?
Mm-hmm.
They will get melted under a Samira if she's able to get those combos rolling and able to find that Inferno trigger going off. I've seen a combo, of course, of hitting 1 second Samira S rank and then just popping ulti in near instance. So if you're able to find those combos, then definitely able to shred through your composition. The issue that Samira at least is going to find is that obviously playing into Alistair, it's never too easy to gain access to that backline, and as well to that point, Camille has a micro stun. We've got Yone with double knockups coming on through as well. Finding the timing to go in with the Inferno trigger might struggle a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be difficult to manage for Beanie, and that's where people like Damage, Annie, and even Follow are going to need to set things up with their CC. Make sure that Beanie is not the focus. And honestly, it feels kind of bad, but I'm looking at Skeeto to perform as that pseudo frontline as well using the Gore Drinker, because we know that can be such a crucial part of drawing attention away from your AD carry. For you have a delicate balancing act on their hands, and it's not going to happen early game, but around that 10-15 minute mark when the first team fights do start breaking out, we've got to really evaluate their strength as a team going into and exiting this week.
And now we can see, of course, some trades in the mid lane, and I definitely do want to, of course, keep our eyes on how well Furia managed to net themselves a segue out of this week. But I think, of course, for both of these teams, being at that 1-4 marker, they're definitely not where they want to be, right? Like this,
Mm-hmm.
this record isn't going to get you into the playoffs by any means, and it is going to be a case of, well, this is a game that you must win for both of these squads. They're both down in the dumps, right, a little bit here, and a win here can not only set you off on an upwards trajectory, but it's also a win over a team that you absolutely must take a game away from. With two teams that are struggling for wins across the board, finding one against your sort of level opponents is going to be vitally important. And the team that comes out on top is going to be much better off in the rest of the season, it feels like, rather than just a single game.
Yeah, and that'll push you to new heights here ideally for both of these teams. The new height that I'm curious about though is Revolta, who has been the heralded experience on the side of INTZ, and I like Nidalee. He started Raptors, and I want to know why he started Raptors.
Well, he started that W, right, and also something that I do quite like from if you do start this W and Raptors clear is that you do keep yourself with that red buff for a lot longer time. He's only just cleared it here, so if he's going to be going out on the map, he's going to have the double buffs for just that little bit longer and have that combat effectiveness even more so fighting in and around that crab. And if he wants to go anywhere else, going to find that Macau going to get taunted.
Oh, this is so funny to me. I'm so sorry. Beanie, I know, is threatening Macau, and he's gonna have to flash and cleanse. But I think it is so hilarious that Cabu, classic leaving lane at level 3, just leaves his ADC in the dirt, and Damage and Beanie know that it's happening. I mean, it's been 3 weeks of the same thing. Cabu does not like to play in the lane.
Nope. And it's nice to see somebody finally taking advantage of it as well. I feel like, from what I've seen, at least Macau gets fairly. He gets free laning phases where he probably shouldn't do.
Hmm.
And that right there is a classic example of Cabu being punished and Macau as well also being punished. And the fact that that Macau at least didn't respect they didn't have a support. He does get paid. He does have to pay the price of burning both Flash and Cleanse. So a little bit of a misplay there actually from Macau if he's unable to sit back. But once again, good from Furrier to capitalize on the overstep.
Yeah, it might stack up to a little bit more against INTZ later if Furia can take appropriate advantage, since they do have both their flashes up, and Cleanse is pretty important when you're going up, especially against the knockups that Galio can provide as comboed with the Samira passive.
And that's exactly what we need to see come out of Furrier right now, that they've got no flash on Macau. We need to see them try and capitalize on that. Yes, Carbu is going to be doing his best to run interference here, but he's not going to be able to pump out enough CC to keep all of the damage back. We've got Furrier now looking toward the dragon, so maybe that single flash summoner spell, as well as a little bit of priority in the mid lane, is starting to net them a few advantages, and they're going to try and transition that down into the bot lane.
Yeah, looks like it's going to work for now. Cabu gonna get caught by the Swirl Seed on his way over to check the dragon, knows it's been started, but can't do much about it, and that's going to be the first Drake, the Wind Drake, going over to Furia.
Yeah, and a really nice pickup for them. We're expecting that one to come through at least, obviously having burned their flashes, but also the important factor of that mid lane matchup. So much depending on, or so many Drakes depending on your mid lane priority. We're always expecting Yone to be bullied out by the Azir early on. And honestly, I'm impressed by Envy and his ability to keep farm and keep level in CS right here because he's down, well, not even down anymore, but going to be pretty much even with an Azir. And honestly, Annie should really be looking to pump at least a 10 CS lead in the early game if this Yone isn't just going to stand up and take over soon.
And the lane that I'm surprised we haven't been talking about more is, speaking of CS leads that have not emerged and kill leads that have not emerged, is Bowl and Skiddo. The Camille Renekton matchup with Ignite and Teleport in the top lane. Ignite hasn't been burned, Teleport has for both laners, and this is a very, very quiet lane.
Yeah, going level in CS, we've got Sheen up against Vamp Scepter right here, so the Renekton, at least for now, going to have a little bit more trade power, a little bit more sustain at least after the fact. Maybe not necessarily finding himself in a better position after the trades, but we know the innate sustain that Renekton has, and you can see, of course, with the Vamp Scepter, with Cold and Meek healing up so much as well, he might be very well off in this laning phase just to keep farming up and get to that point where he's going to try and dive onto Macau, onto Envy, onto Revolta, and try and find somebody who's a little bit easier to try and assassinate.
Yeah, it'll take a little while for him to get out of the lane, but it does seem like that sort of passivity for now is going to be more of a payoff for later than it is for the lane. Not something that we often see from the Camille matchup, but maybe forced out in this little Renekton. But I like the warning mission there. That was really cool.
Yeah, and to back to the top lane point right here, that for me, this 100% favors Bowl. Renekton's supposed to do very well into the Camille and supposed to try and put her down in the early game. The fact that Bowl is just sat farming contently, taking these even trades, is definitely going to be quite nice for Camille and should just be able to become that side lane monster. We've seen it just every single time Camille gets picked, it feels like she just dominates inside lanes later on, even if she's not fed in the early game. Just as going even is going ahead for the Camille. It's one of those sort of vein effects where it doesn't necessarily matter that you're not doing too much in the early game because late game you're just going to become a monster.
And actually, speaking of the side lane, once it does hit those later stages, we're seeing repeated that blue side have found themselves a split push advantage with somebody like Yone in your pocket as well. You can run a 1-3-1 pretty effectively using Kai'Sa, Alistair, and Revolta for the chunk and the siege. This could be something that INTZ just look to
Mhm.
exploit the fact that they can't really be matched globally later on, as long as they, as you say, go even or ahead. Cabu, nice bump.
You can see Furia here trying to transition their lead of the bot lane into a Rift Herald as well, and they are going to get away with it. This is going to remove their lead, though, down on that bot side. This entire time that Beanie has spent roaming around helping out the rest of the squad is going to be time that Kaiser is farming and time that Macau is getting himself a lead. Hasn't yet picked himself up a plate, but is almost certainly going to do so with this wave. And as well as that, might even be able to get a second here as well. So you think about the value that you're going to get from a Rift Herald, it's going to be probably about 2 plates worth. Kabu, though, looking for the fight. Beanie flashes away,
Nice.
though.
Good
But yeah,
flash from
if you
Beanie.
oh, are they going to go back in? No, they're not. Okay. The point, dear, that I was trying to make is that the value of the Rift Herald typically about 2 plates. What they've left and what it has cost them is actually 3 plates down on this bot side here. Maybe not actually. Macau just going to get swept off by the Blade World, but overall, that at the minute is not worth it because they also lose a load of experience onto their AD carry. You have to try and figure your pros versus cons right here, and at the minute, INTZ have come out well on top, provided that this Rift Herald only nets them the 2 plates. This is going to be one of those things now where we're looking to Furia to get more than they expected.
Yeah, and Macau having just dinged 7 brings up that XP that you were just talking about. Envy takes a little bit of a bad trade in the mid lane, but it's about time for him to reset anyway. Should have some items to complete and be able to go back and try and go toe-to-toe with any. I wonder at what item breakpoint we do see the fights really start to go in Envy's favor, because he hasn't decided to commit the Fate Sealed to anything just yet. But the skirmishes are going to start to break out, especially if Furia keep trying to go walk away with these objectives, and INTZ, they're going to start feeling like they can fight.
Yeah, I mean the mid lane breakpoints that you're talking about, it's been pretty difficult to judge because Envy has
Mm-hmm.
been he's not been looking for fights. Period. Right.
Mm.
That's just a fact of the laning phase right now that he's just not bothered by it at all. So it's difficult to see how the trades are going, and especially as well with the arm guard picked up for the Azir as well. Once he gets 30 CS, picking up that 30 armor is going to put him in very good stead in the mid lane matchup as well. So I'll be interested to see how it does play out. Of course, Envy with Fleet Footwork, with that Vamp Scepter, and Berserker Greaves has got pretty much everything he needs to keep himself nice and safe in the laning phase. Now just going to be once again a fight around these team fights, looking toward the dragon, which has now spawned. It's going to be the mountain. So we're going to get one of those coveted souls, be it ocean, be it infernal, before they start stacking them up. It's going to be Furia, though, who are looking to try and prioritize a little bit of vision here. But on the same by the same token here, Mikau pushing in on the bot side. We have priority in the mid lane for Furia, but on the bot side, it's INTZ.
And for a game that we said would be really even, this has been even, but surprisingly quiet. They're hoping to break that open, though, as Furia. They can't quite find the Swirl Seed, can't quite find the Engage, and it's going to be still a 0-0 game at the 11-minute mark. Quite late for CBLOL.
I know, I know. This is an incredibly passive, at least early game from what we're used to seeing here. INTZ have given up a couple of objectives, but you can see that the gold lead is just in their favor. Now, Bowl and Skeeto going at it on the top side.
Okay, Dominus gets popped, and Bull just gets to get out for free. Hadn't popped the hook shot just yet, so we'll take the reset here, it looks like, but cancels the teleport for now, as he might need it later, and doesn't want to use it to get back to the lane.
No, not at this stage in the game. You know, your first TP typically used for laning and a good recall and trying to out macro and out lane your opponent. The rest of them comes down to team decision making, and now coming over the wall is 3 members of Furia.
Oh no! Damage doesn't find the taunt, but does find the knockup. Cabu forced to burn the Unbreakable Will, saving his own life. That's an ult down, and it's right around the dragon. That could be enough for Furia to feel confident starting this one up. With Skeeto on the roam down as well, there's a lot of pressure around this objective that just might pop at any moment. Revolta searches for the spears, doesn't quite find it. What is happening?
It's okay, dear. Don't worry. They're trying to find the poke right and setting themselves up for the Drake. They've got obviously the I mean, Furia have got bowling balls and Nidalee has got spears, and for any with a very early ulti.
Ooh, very unlucky use of the Fate Sealed there. It doesn't find any, and that's going to be 2 ults burned now. So you won't have either mid lane for the moment, is what I'll say. Revolta, though, is not giving up this dragon. With the backup of Cabu and Macau, is consistently tossing out these spears, and Furia just do not feel confident taking it. If INTZ rush this down, they just get a free dragon.
Yeah, and it looks like that is indeed going to be the case right here. Really happy to see INTZ go back to it. There's no engage tool for Furrier. They're relying
Mm.
exclusively on damage, and when he's in the front line, it's so telegraphed what he's trying to achieve. No flash either. They're going to be looking to try and find the engage off of a flank angle, maybe using well, he doesn't even have Hex Flash, but trying to find an angle like that is about as good as they can hope for there on the side of Furrier. Despite not having the flanks, not having the angles to get on in, there's just no way for them to take the fight, and it's reflected in how the team fight plays out. Furrier attempt it, they fail the engage, and Kabu is able to live using his unbreakable will, and then INTZ just reset, they go back, and then they take themselves the dragon.
It's kind of crazy to watch it happen because it feels like INTZ have been put behind, at least in the tempo right now. But the gold reflects differently, and like you say, their ability to engage is going to continue to reflect differently because with people like Kabu and Bull, they're not suffering from the same problem as Fury are.
I know they're definitely going to be in a bit of a better position to try and extend their lead down out of that bot lane right here. I mean, you talked about Kabu being that big roam monster at least, and you can see both bot lanes have 15 levels combined. The discrepancy though comes from Mikau being a level ahead of Beanie and Damage being a level ahead of Kabu. So you can see already that INTZ are funneling more XP into Mikau, more gold into Mikau, and sacrificing Kabu's just tankiness, I suppose, in the base levels and armor and stuff that he gets from that. But they just don't care. The utility of Alistair comes from his knockups, and as soon as he's got that ulti, the next real power break doesn't come until he reaches about that level 11 marker. Yes, we're going to be missing a few base resist and things, but overall, you're trading a little bit of tankiness on Alistair, who's an incredibly tanky champion, with Aftershock, with ulti in the first place, for a load of damage on your Kai'Sa.
And Kabu is super used to to operating on these low levels as a constant roamer. It is very well known to him exactly what his limits are, even on a low level Alistair in a game where everybody has rocketed themselves ahead. And INTZ feeling very comfortable right now with their current power levels. Double Noon Quiver picked up for their 2 carries to start up this Rift Herald.
And they're going to be more than capable of picking that one up as well. Everything has been rotated over from INTZ here, and you can see the more than capableness of INTZ to pick up that Rift Herald, and they're going to be once again sacrificing a little bit of farm from an AD carry's perspective, where Beanie's picking up a load of farm on the bot side. Mikau would have been sacrificing that wave, but wisely here, you see Bowl already taking a recall, and Mikau going to be able to pick up that one instead on the top wave.
Macau still getting further and further ahead. 30 CS lead in the bot side, and I know it's been a low kill slash no kill game, but as you mentioned just previously, that is essentially a kill that they have found here. Although INTZ might be giving up their first one, Bull does dodge the taunt with the Hextech ultimatum and gets himself out. What an insane! How is that allowed?
It's Camille, dear. What do you mean? It always happens. You're just like, okay, let's just pick the Camille, guys, and then that takes you 20 minutes, and you never manage to succeed. It's just a fact of life.
All right.
Camille can't.
Well, turrets are falling at a faster rate than people at this point, with the second one going down. Beanie does manage to pick up a little bit of gold, but the solo gold was given over to Macau earlier, so it is still a big stretch of the imagination to say that they are anywhere close to even right now, especially because Macau is still getting all of this CS and experience in the top side. Now, my question is, we haven't really seen Macau put up these carry-worthy performances. I'm not sure that investing all this is worth it.
Well, we'll have to wait and see here, dear, because Skeeto's stepping up right now. Kabu and Revolta are nearby. Fortunately enough, damage is there, and he did have Hero's Entrance. Should anything go under that turret right there. But this is going to be the test here then for Macau, right? Yes, Bowl and Envy have been farming up quite nicely, but Macau's the one who's been funneled at least the advantage in terms of his laning opponent. Going to be in a good position to try and take that one. So if Macau can be the one to step up to carry, then we can be happy and sort of acknowledge this as a condition that INTZ can use in future games.
Mm.
But let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is sort of like a BRTT but untested is what it feels like right now with the amount of resources that they're piling into him. In the meantime, the person who has been flying under the radar but still doing quite well is still Revolta. Who has been piloting his way around the map with pretty ruthless efficiency. He and Kabu have made a deadly duo since around that dragon and have been able to roam around the jungle really uncontested, clearing out and setting up vision.
And that's exactly going to be the goal, and successfully so, right? We've got dragon
Mhm.
spawning, as you mentioned, in just 7 seconds right here. Going to be looking to take their priority from the mid lane down toward that dragon. Vision all set up. They're more than capable of taking this one. The gold lead only 2,000, but it feels like it's so much more. The unhidden, the hidden gold that comes from levels is just in Macau's favor by so
Teleport.
much of an extent, and they're going to be late to this fight.
Yeah, Dragon goes down before Furia can engage, and that just means that Furia don't get to engage. And INTZ should get away with murder here. The engage is
Oh,
used by, holy Lord, Annie. Even the sleep burned onto Macau, but he manages to survive. And with all of that, INTZ are still kiting out the fight. Envy goes toe-to-toe with Beanie, but gets himself out with the soul unbound. INTZ suffer nothing there.
no, they do have to burn a couple of summoner spells, of course, across the board. But overall, they're going to be more than happy with that. Once again, netting themselves the objective. They get themselves the dragon. They get out for free, pretty much, and nothing burned really. Save for, of course, those summoners. They are going to lose mid-tier 1 here. So Furia did come out ahead in the fight, and Revolta might take down Follow.
Yeah,
Or Follow might take down. I don't know.
It's really close. Both AP junglers going at each other. Furia do manage to at least net themselves the mid lane tier 1, which you're pretty happy with. What does Rift Herald charge this?
They're going to hope that it doesn't.
It
Okay, it doesn't.
does.
So it's going to charge, but doesn't lose HP if the turret's not there. That's
Okay.
fine. They wanted to break that turret first. You don't want to waste a charge onto a turret such as the Azir one right there. They are going to maybe break down this one, but with the rest of Furia here, they're going to be able to defend it quite nicely.
That is a crazy interaction that I had not thought of. I genuinely didn't know that Azir turrets were still coded as turrets. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Yeah, like
I
because
do, I get you.
yeah, Rift Herald could have just been like, nah, and
Oh,
Beanie's gonna
Beanie.
want
Wrong
to have
neighborhood.
been like, nah, this is a rough time for him to be in. The
It's his
dash
first
fails
blood.
it over the wall, and Envy picks up your right first blood at 20 minutes into the game.
Woo! There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's what we've been waiting for. It's just a catch, and now they're looking for more.
Oh, it's been started by Envy. It can't be stopped now. Macau picks up the second one, and damage should be the third. It goes under the tower, and Revolta gets one. Everybody's getting a kill. Now that Envy started it off, you're unstoppable.
And this could just be the beginning of a massive cascading effect right here. It's
Mhm.
like they've just been starting to roll the snowball for the entirety of the game. It's taken them 20 minutes and they finally made it to the end of the cliff. And now it's just going to go all the way down. We're going to end up with a full-on avalanche soon enough right here. They started up the Baron. They're going for Follow, who's caught out.
Yeah, Envy doesn't take a whole lot of damage in return. Follow, on the other hand, falls to sub 10% HP. Skeeto pops the Dominus for reasons unknown. Maybe hoping to go in here, but you are not getting this Baron, my friend. Beanie does
Is he
manage to take
not?
down Cabu, though, and they get the Baron against all odds. Follow slays it. Everybody levels up, but they're losing so many members. Damage the last one left alive. INTZ are finding the fight, and they will end up taking it away. They don't get the Baron, but good God, what?
Yep, that'll do it to you, dear. That'll do it. The steal comes through. They try and bait out Follow. They try and go on to Follow just a little too early, unfortunately. And I mean, at the end of the day, they still get a load of kills in response, and overall net gold gain is going to be in favor of INTZ. You can see that Baron power play down to, well, I mean, we're going to hit the negatives pretty quickly right here. Fortunately enough, they do have Annie still having the Baron, so there's a chance that they can use it for some good, but it's not going to be easy. If anything, it's going to limit the side lane that the Azir goes to.
Yeah, that was a very, very weird fight, and you're right. It is going to limit the side lane. I think that they'll probably just pop him mid and hope to stall out the game, which is kind of a weird look for Furia, who are getting outscaled. Macau showcasing that.
Yeah, so, just goodbye. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. I've had enough.
That
He's
was
out of there.
that was not even a question. Follow got melted there. He's got his Zanya's actually.
Yep. He's been hard. That's it. That'll do it to you. That's a Kaiser with 2 items, right?
That is kind of unlucky. Macau very clearly demonstrating that he can use the resources at least to find a pick, and the Baron has been relegated to clearing minions under tower.
Yeah, that's not your optimal use of Baron, dear. I'll let you know that one for free right now. That's my color analysis, the insight that I can provide you. Baron, not great when you're looking to be just in disengage tool. Either way, though, it's going to be interesting to see what the rest of Mikau and INTZ can come up with. Getting that Baron stolen away is a bit of an issue in the fact that they're not going to be able to really push any advantages with it. It's going to be one of those tricky situations where they were trying to get the Baron so that they could force the close out of the game, or at least close out of some turrets at the very bare minimum here. And with the Baron off the table, they're not going to have that utility for another 3 minutes at the very least. TP comes through though. Skeeto looking for a fight.
All right, Skito's in the pit, and he might actually just get the dragon as
Oh, Bull on
Revolta
a
is
flank.
struggling with ways in. You're right, though. Bull coming in on the flank here.
Stole.
They get the dragon as well. This could be disastrous for Furia. Not getting anything here, but they're getting collapsed on. The Hextech ultimatum is immediately canceled by the Emperor's Divide, but they've picked off two in the meantime as the front lines were separated. Annie eats a huge spear and just goes down as Revolta pounces on him. Beanie's left alone with the Inferno Trigger, but it's not quite enough damage at this point. It's an instant ace for INTZ.
Yeah, and a clean ace at that as well. They're going to be able to pick themselves up a 5-0 right there. A huge engage coming through. They just get routed there. Look at the setup from INTZ. The TP flank from Bowl, able to come on in. A nice quick steal from Revolta as well. And then buying his time right here. Doesn't want to be the leading member to engage, but everything comes up at the exact same time. Kabu goes in, Fate Unsealed goes in, and then Camille all on the same time. There was nothing that Furia could do because they were just getting flanked on by every single angle. And yet Beanie trying to do his best here, but gets knocked up, gets taken down. The no resets coming through, and unfortunately, it is going to be a pretty difficult game here for Furia. The good thing, of course, in their favor is that there's nothing really for INTZ to get off of it. It is just a quick, clean kill, but it does certainly set the tone for the fights.
It really, really does. That spear was so massive. I want to credit Revolta there. That was incredible. The fight already was going in INTZ's way, and I'm kind of sad. I gotta be honest with you. I was hoping for more from Beanie. Not because it's not his fault. Beanie did what he was supposed to do. He pulled the Inferno trigger. He did great. Good job, Beanie. It's not enough. And at this point, Furia have got to struggle for ways that they can find to be enough. And I'm not really seeing where those answers come up in their favor.
Nor am I here, dear, unfortunately. And it's one of those things where we talked about all of the resources that have been funneled into Macau. And in that instance, it sort of shows you the difference between the ADCs because Fourier didn't give Beanie those same luxuries. Beanie is 2 levels behind the Kaiser. Of course, that will come from fights. And Kabu probably fine here.
Yeah, has the Unbreakable Will, is still really tanky. Still hasn't hit the level 11 breakpoint, by the way, but oh my lord, those spears are hurting.
He's got 2 completed items on the Nidalee now. He's probably going to be able to one-shot Annie and follow. Difficult to one-shot Beanie because of Immortal Shield Bow, but by the by, he should be fairly confident regardless. Bold, though, stepping up to Skeeto, who's gone on a bit of a weird tangent right here.
Oh yeah, but you got a friend in Mikau. Takes down Skeeto and leaves just damage all alone. The taunt does not find anyone, and that was a little bit more confidence from Bull than we've seen before, and finally gets unlocked at this stage in the game. 2-0 and 8 right now.
Yeah, Skeeto just passed incorrectly there, unfortunately, and it was really good from Bold to capitalize on that, just saying, "Wait, this guy's walking towards my team. What the?" And then, of course, the Killer Instinct comes in from Macau. Akatian Rain deals a ton of damage on an isolated target here with this maxed out Q, and actually going for a W evolve third as well. Going to be really interesting that we see the Nash's Tooth come through, maybe opting into this full poke style that we've got a Nidalee and a Kaiser. They should be able to put out a decent amount of damage here. Keep your eye then on these Void Seekers because they are going to start adding up and they're going to really matter. Applying 3 stacks of Plasma and also being the getting a reset if they hit. Missing a Kaiser W now becomes incredibly important because his cooldown can go from being 70% reduced to just nothing.
Oh, you missed the Kaiser W, but you found Annie anyways. The help of Envy, these two carries are working pretty well together, I'd say.
Yeah,
that's my color analysis. That's
thank you very much,
yeah.
dear. The 2 Fed carries are working well with all of the damage they can put out. It's weird, hey, how that happens when you're 10,000 gold almost to the good Envy, just fishing for kills here.
Doesn't quite find any, but Macau instead is the one that gets caught. Cleanse
Oh.
gets burned, and the Lilting Lullaby is still available, but the counter engage just is not there as you have no frontliner.
They don't, right? Galio's trying to do his best, and Evie just goes over again.
Yeah, double knockups does start that one off right, and Beanie is being hunted down in the back side. Does burn heal, but doesn't manage to stay alive. INTZ with another clean ace, this time much more convincing. I think they could just end the game here.
Yeah, they don't have the Baron right, and they could also back off toward Infernal Soul, but with the death timers looking so large right here, it could almost certainly be the end of the game. And it looks like INTZ, after it taking 20 minutes to find the first kill, it only takes them 8 minutes to find another subsequent 18.
And that it is insane the level at which the game has accelerated. INTZ, a well-deserved victory against Furia, do put themselves at the top of the stack.